How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you, and longer if I can. How long will I need you? As long as the seasons need to follow their plan. How long will I be with you? As long as the sea is bound to wash upon the sand. How long will I want you? As long as you want me to, and longer by far. How long will I hold you? As long as your father told you, as long as you can. How long will I give to you? As long as I live through you. However long you say. How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you, and longer if I may. How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you.
So on behalf of John and Chantal, I welcome you all here today. The bride and groom have gathered around with those to whom they feel closest. My Deputy Superintendent Registrar here to lead today's ceremony. And my colleague seated at the side table is Sam Alders, and Sam is the Registrar who will be recording the marriage in the marriage register and preparing the certificate. Together, we represent the Suffolk Registration Service. We also the two witnesses for this case. Before you are joined in matrimony, I do have to remind you of the solemn and binding character of the vows you're about to make. Although they may be short and simple, this in no way lessens their legal status to you or lessens the significance of your day. Marriage in this country means the union of two people voluntarily entered into for life to the exclusion of all others. Now, marriage is a promise of hope between a man and a woman who love each other, who trust that love, and who wish to share the future together. Through your vows, you are making a commitment to one another for the rest of your lives. Marriage is not an easy path. It requires devotion, the ability to listen, the wisdom to know when we are wrong, and the strength to put things right. For you both, getting married is a proud confirmation of the love, the respect, and the true friendship that you have for one another. And together, you will be stronger to meet whatever life holds for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now have to ask you all for me. We are gathered here today to witness the joining in matrimony of Jonathan Clark Holland and Chantal Ruth Miller. If any person present knows of any lawful impediment to this marriage, it should be declared now. They're very well behaved, aren't they? Got a good crowd here today, Donna. Right, at the beginning of the ceremony, you will each make a declaration and you will state that there's no lawful impediment to your marriage. Then you will make your vows one to the other, holding hands, taking each other in marriage. But firstly, I do have to tell everyone that this place in which we are now met has been duly sanctioned according to law for the celebration of marriages. Now, we come to our first reading of the ceremony, and that's going to be done by Jess. So if you'd like to come up, Jess.
Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity is a tiny blue dot that we humans call home. And yet Yet our species is young and curious and brave and shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have had the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries. We are consistently reminded that humans have evolved to wonder, that understanding is joy, that knowledge is a prerequisite to survival. Our little planet floats like a mote of dust in the morning sky. All that you see, all that you can see, explored out of a star of billions of years ago. And the particles slowly arrange themselves into living things, including all of us. We are made of star stuff. We are the mechanism by which the universe can comprehend itself. The world is so exquisite, with so much love and moral depth. We should remain grateful every day for the brief but magnificent opportunity that life provides. The sum of all our evolution, our thinking, and our accomplishments is love. How on earth can you explain in terms of chemistry and physics so important a biological phenomenon that is love? Put your hand on a stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with the person you love for an hour and it seems like a minute. That's relativity. A marriage makes two fractional lives a whole. It gives two questioning natures a renewed reason for living. It brings a new gladness to the sunshine, a new fragrance to the flowers, a new beauty to the earth, and a new mystery.
I think that there's a big round of applause. Now, I've asked your friends and family if there is any legal reason why you cannot be married. I'm now required to ask if you're ready to make your own declaration of your own marriage. Are you ready to do so? So, I'm now going to ask you each question, and if you could reply with my hand on your. Are you, Jonathan Clark Holland, free lawfully to marry Chantal Ruth Novak? And are you, Chantal Ruth Novak, free lawfully to marry Jonathan Clark Holland?
I am.
The bride and groom are now going to make a statement of commitment to one another before everyone here today. So I'm now going to ask you each a question, and I hope that the responses are ideal. John and Chantal. You have invited everyone here to receive their encouragement and support, and also to celebrate with you on this very special day. I ask you now in the presence of this company, John, do you take Chantal to be your wife? Do you promise to be loving, loyal and faithful to her for the rest of your lives together? And Chantal, do you take John to be your husband? Do you promise to be loving, loyal and faithful to him for the rest of your lives together? Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has now arrived for both Jono and Chantal to contract their marriage before you, their witnesses. And this is a very special part of the ceremony, where two people are affirming the bond between them in front of the people they care most about. And the purpose of marriage is that you always care for and support each other throughout that life. So you're already facing each other, so that's always a bonus. Right, so, Johnny, you're going to repeat after me, okay? I, Jonathan Clark Holland, take you, Chantal Ruth Novak, to be my wedded wife. I love you because you feel my own sister.
I love you because you feel my own sister.
You are a discotheque teenage girl.
Discotheque teenager.
Together we will follow the seasons.
Together we will follow the seasons.
I vow never to break the chain.
Yeah, never to break the
Open my eager eyes.
chain. Always open and eager.
And to have nights of love
Lots of love.
by the fireplace. And finally, I promise, my hand will be yours. So the hay fever is really bad. Shall I tell you now? I, Chantal Ruth Novak,
I, Chantal Ruth Novak,
take you, Jonathan Clark Holland,
take you, Jonathan Clark Holland,
to be my wedded husband.
to be my wedded husband. I love you because you feel like home to me. You are kind, caring, supportive, and a calm to my crazy. Together, we will continue to live the daily. I vow to listen to you and learn from you, to laugh with you and sometimes at you. And I vow to have faith in you. And finally, I promise to love you unconditionally for the rest of my days, until we're old and grey and our time has come.
Right, I think we need a bit of a breather now, don't we, down the front here? So that's going to be with Evie.
May you take on the world together with all your hopes and dreams. May you be each other's anchor in smooth or rocky seas. May you bend to the world's winds and brave squalls and storms. May you find common ground in all its changing forms. May you cross stubborn boundaries and turn many a stone. May you find haven for your souls. May you have heart and home. And if some nights are grey and some nights are long and cold, may you be each other's sun and moon as your destinies unfold. And should you lose sight of each other and start to drift apart, may you circle back better forward by following the compass of your heart.
There's a big round. Well done, Evie. Now, please, could I invite the mums up, please? We've now come to the traditional part of the ceremony, where we are about to exchange the rings. Now, the wedding ring is the unbroken circle symbolising unending and everlasting love, and is also the outward sign of the promises you have made to one another. So, if you would like to pass your husband to Joanna, you'd like to place something to see that left foot, you put her left hand. You just hold it there for a moment and say to her, I give you this ring. Say to her, Joanna, I give you this ring
I give you this ring.
as a symbol of our marriage, and as a pledge of my love,
Pledge of my love,
friendship and commitment
friendship,
today and tomorrow. I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage, and as a pledge of my love, friendship and commitment today and tomorrow. She's going to get that ring on. Thank you, ladies. You may take your seats. We come to our last reading of the ceremony, and that's going to be done by David. So, David, if you'd like to come on up.
I shall now read a small quotation from the great songwriter Bob Marley. He's not perfect. You aren't either, and the two of you will never be perfect. But if he can make you laugh at least once, causes you to think twice, and if he admits to being human and making mistakes, hold on to him and give him the most you can. He isn't going to quote poetry. He's not thinking about you every moment, but he will give you a part of him that he knows you can break. Don't hurt him, don't change him. Don't expect for more than he can give. Don't analyse. Smile when he makes you happy. Yell when he makes you mad. And miss him when he's not there. Love hard when there's love to be had, because perfect guys don't exist. But there's always one guy that is perfect for you.
Jono and Chantal, let the world recognise your marriage. May you treasure and trust this responsibility. May no failure or misfortune ever part you, and may you live full and rich life together. You have declared your marriage by the vows you have made and the rings that you now display. So I just have one last thing to say to you, but congratulations, you are now husband and wife. You may- Right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have one last duty for the bride and groom to perform, and that is to sign the legal register. So just be patient with us. I know it's getting a bit warm in here now. We will try and get through this bit as quickly as possible, ready for you to get out to the party. So do bear with us. So, Donna, would you like to escort your wife, please, to one of these chairs here? Yeah, and Karen. No, you sit there, sorry. I'll talk to you, Mum. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention just for a final few moments. With the marriage register duly checked and signed, that does now conclude the ceremony for today. Now, it's been an absolute honour and privilege to be able to marry you today, and also to get to know you both. And I know that Sam, myself, and all your guests and family gathered here today wish you a very long and happy life together. So, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your time with the bride and groom this afternoon. I promised Jono and Chantal sun, that's what they've got. Can't honestly say that I was expecting to bring such high temperatures, but you know, it's always a bit of a bonus. So enjoy your time with the bride and groom. I don't think that's going to be hard for any of you in this room today. So please, would you be upstanding and show your sincere congratulations to the new Mr.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance with me. We were victims of the night, the chemical, physical kryptonite. Help us to the base and
Whoever's entered the sweepstakes, make sure you pick the longest possible one, because I'm going to be here for hours. Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, and those of you who do not conform to anachronistic binary gender stereotypes, I'd like to talk about my daughter to begin with, please. Two things people used to say about Chantal and I. One, that she looks like me, and two, that she's very pretty. And I never quite understood how those two things could be related. However, this is a picture of the two of us. Over the years, we've had some fun, as you can probably imagine. However, it appears my digital archive of Chantal pictures doesn't start until she was about 8, so we'll sort of start around there. Chantal has always been a difficult child, right from the very start. Her birth was like a scene out of Casualty. While she was still in vitro, her heart rate dropped, then it went up, then it dropped, then it went up, then it dropped, then it went up, after which they got a little bored and started taking blood out of her scalp to test the pH value for distress. Then they thought maybe we should do a cesarean, then they thought not. Then the ventouse wouldn't hold, in went the forceps, and the poor midwife was leaning against the end of the bed trying to pull her out. Yes, this is true. I'll make it sound like it was my story, but it bloody wasn't. All I had to do was go, oh, blood! Anyway, I was the first to see Chantal when she came out, and her eyes were pure violet, and I looked down into her eyes and I was completely transformed. Parenthood is a terrible thing that no one should have to endure it for. But it was at that point that I realised I needed to stop being a child and grow up, so I've been growing up through her vicariously. I am now 27 years old. When Chantal was born, people said make sure you capture the first 30 years of her life because they'll be gone before you know it. It's true. Yesterday, she was 7 years old, fell over at the bus stop and I was picking bits of gravel out of her knee. I blinked, and she's 27 and getting married. She was a creative child. I remember how at age 3 she completely covered the entire floor with bits of A4 and then wandered about with crayons, scribbling on them. Apparently randomly to me, but it made sense to her. I've always been proud of her though. I remember when she was 2 and I ran into the kitchen to tell her mother how she'd finished her very first jigsaw puzzle on her own. Within a couple of years she was beating the computer at backgammon. I can't say she was the best behaved of children. She went to a Rudolf Steiner school. And we talked to her and asked them for advice on how best to control her bad behaviour. They suggested we lock her into her bedroom. 8th birthday party, I think, was my favourite one, where she was so, look, Father, oh Father, please stop, Father. This was the one where she complained that she wasn't allowed to win every single game all the way through.
I'll say.
Hissy fits.
She grew up, my idea of rebellion was sex, drugs and rock and roll, but without any sex, unfortunately. Chantal's rebellion, lots of drugs and rock and roll, but no sex. But Chantal's idea of rebellion was to join the church. And to sing in the choir. Which I thought was great, given that I'm the most atheist this side of Richard Dawkins. But it did get her to go to Nicaragua, amongst other things, and go and hang out with really poor people, which I'm really proud of her for doing. But she wasn't an only child forever. She was only an only child until she was 14, at which point her sister Evie was born. And I thought, great, I've got a built-in babysitter. No, I had to wait 13 years for her to start babysitting. But it won't be long before Evie is old enough to babysit Zach. Really looking forward to that. Eventually Chantal was 18, and we had one of our family birthdays. And just under a year later, I was thrilled when she moved into my house as soon as I had a second bedroom. Those years we spent living in the same house were interesting. Especially the shopping trips where we would bicker our way around Tesco, recreating the scene from Father of the Bride, complaining about how many hot dogs you get in a tin and how many burger buns you get in a... Perpetual arguments we had about her leaving her clothes in the washing machine for days on end, or me finding her hair straighteners on the carpet every morning, or coming home from work and finding that she'd had the heating on all day but never coughed up a penny towards the heating bills. Or bursting into my bedroom without warning looking for a DVD. Some of it was so interesting you'll have to wait for the TV adaptation before you find it. One story I can tell you was Christmas Eve 2011, where we went round to a friend of mine's house and I got a little tipsy. In fact, I was so drunk I couldn't remember how many legs I had. Chantal had to carry me home. She tried. It wasn't very far, I have to say. And we did sing very loudly. What was it we were singing all the way home? My Happy Ending, that's right. Every now and again, I go, it's all right, you let me go now, I'm absolutely fine. And she let go of me and I'd fall into a puddle, into a hedge, into a ditch on the other side of the road that I'd managed to stagger all the way over and fall into. The one thing, the whole point of that story was that Chantal pointed out this was the wrong way round. Finally, she moved out of my house and moved into City Road, where she met some people. I don't know if any of them were here. Any of them here? I was going to say Louise and some others, but... And eventually, she met Jono. Then she went to university in Bristol. I never doubted her ability to get a degree, since her A-level essays were better than some second-year undergraduate assignments that I'd been marking at work. Her time at university was full of fun. In the first year, though, she developed the art of cooking a full roast dinner at 1 o'clock in the morning and perfected the art of crying at her friends so that they would do her ironing for her. In the second year, when she moved into the shared house, she thanked me for being such a miserable parent and never letting her have the heating on, because at least she was prepared for the cold that she experienced there. And then suddenly, pregnancy. And somewhere in there. And then graduation, which I thought was the wrong way around, but hey, what the hell, they still happened. There's 3 pictures of Chantal at graduations. 2 of them are mine, and 1 of them's hers. Try and guess which one's which. And she got a 2-1, she could have done better, but she's lazy. She spent her entire secondary school career pretending not to be boffy so that she didn't get bullied. And she would be dangerous if she could be bothered to put real effort into anything. It says in the good Father of the Bride speech that I should talk about my son-in-law. Next screen. I don't remember when I first met Jono. It was awkward. It was awkward for the first couple of years. I'd met Chantal's previous boyfriends, many of whom, apart from one, had been keen to avoid me and would just walk through the house without a word, just keen to get upstairs and out of my way. I thought they were terribly rude. In the early days, Jono and I had strange conversations. These were usually through Chantal. I'd ask a question, and he'd reply to Chantal, who then passed the answer on to me. And I thought, what's wrong? Oh, he's just shy, she would say. You're very intimidating, she would say. He's not really like this, she would say. And it turns out she was right, although he did get on with her mother more than me, and I was just a little bit jealous. Wow. I have to say, when I had a child, I always assumed that she would come home with a Mohican wearing punk covered tattoos. And I always said if she came home with an accountant, I failed as a parent. So instead I've got a boy who organises his life using spreadsheets. And is an ex-copper, which is probably handy given her criminal past. But I like him anyway. Despite all that, he ticks all the boxes that make him a perfect husband. He's reliable, hardworking, caring and loving, and he makes Chantal happy, and that's the most important thing. Oh. And he's hilarious when he's drunk. I love his butt talk. Those little moments where he delivers pearls of wisdom, as if they are absolutely true, but you know they're crap, but he delivers them with the earnestness of a priest. My favourite time was around Claire's when he said, talking about his second most favourite group of all time, Two Door Cinema Club, and he's going, you must know them, they sound like this. No. Don't know that one, what about this, their second single? No. Then they had this, they did an advert. No. Oh, and in case you don't know, he's shit at charades. Together, Chantal and Jono are awesome parents to Zach. The happiest little boy in the whole world. This is what parenting does to you, by the way. Practical parenting, Parent of the Year award to Chantal. Zach, however, is the happiest little boy in the world. Doesn't matter how miserable I am, one look. One look at his gorgeous smile and anything I've been worried about just evaporates. It says in the Father of the Bride speech, I'm to talk about love from my own experience. I'm no stranger to love. I've done it quite a bit. I was married in '85, through to 2008, not to the same woman, of course. I've been married to 3 consecutive women, and I've had girlfriends, so I think that's more than enough love for one person. By the way, I use married as a convenient term of reference. I didn't marry Chantal's mother, so technically her surname should be Snow.
You know nothing.
I know everything. My girlfriend Claire and I love each other very much. I love her by cooking a curry from scratch every Friday night, and she loves me by not leaving me because of the sound of my snoring. And I know that Chantal and Jono love each other by the amount of time they spend bickering. It's not what it says here, but I'll use that word. The basis of a lasting relationship is the ability to be downright rude to each other and never take offence.
We don't agree, by the way.
Oh, I thought that was a supportive, quiet, reflective pause. No?
I agree.
Good, I agree. I agree with me. The most important aspect of Chantal for me, though, is that she's been a tower of strength for me throughout my life. She kept me alive through the dark days of my last divorce and supported me through the deaths of my brother and mother last year. To be honest, I wouldn't be here without her. And no, you didn't jinx them to death just because we were worried about what to do with them if they had survived. There was a time when you did think that, didn't you? I've killed my mum, I've killed my nana and my uncle. On a lighter note, I'm not just giving away my daughter. I'm uniting my tiny family with Jono's enormous extended family, particularly his Carolyn and David. I first met Carolyn and David along with Chantal's mum, Connie, as the kids thought it would be a good idea for the grandparents to meet. Fortunately, they forgave me after that.
No, they didn't.
I'm still apologising for it. I'll be apologising forever. Fortunately, they forgave me for my shocking behaviour in the pub after the curry, and now we get on like a house on fire. And I look forward to spending more time with them, in the hope that eventually I'll become nice and normal like them. It's not happening. I'm neither of those things. I would like to close on just drawing to your attention two of Chantal's most favourite things of all time. Her phone, which is permanently glued to her face, which is still currently glued to her face, which amazes me because she never answers my bloody calls. Ever. Oh, I found out why. I had a dodgy setting that when you gave me your phone, you left it on favourites only, and you're not one of my favourites. The other thing, of course, it doesn't matter. Husband, child, parents, grandparents, the most important thing in Chantal's life, and has been throughout her life.
Oh, yes.
Is her rat. Which is the most filthy, disgusting, disease-ridden scrap of a blanket that she had when she was born, that she's been carrying with her ever since. Now everyone knows your dirty, filthy secret. Ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who do not conform to anachronistic binary gender stereotypes, please raise a glass to the happy couple, Chantal and Tom. Woo!
I can't make it work. Hello? Hello. I think that bringing out the rat was a step too far. I sleep with it every night, and I'm all ashamed. There we go. So, hello everyone. Hello. Shut up.
Do what I like.
My wedding. Right. It's so amazing to see you all here in one room. We're so grateful that you all made the journey to be with us here today so that we could be surrounded by the people that we love. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the people who couldn't be here. My family in Germany who weren't able to travel, and also those who are no longer with us. Johnny's grandparents and my Omi and Opa, as well as my Nana and Uncle Johnny who we lost last year, who all would have loved to be here to celebrate with us. I'd like to say thank you to my parents and to my dad's girlfriend Claire for their support and their contributions to today. It means so much to me that you all get along and that together we've become quite the team. I'd also like to say thank you to Johnny's family, especially to his parents for their never-ending generosity. You all welcomed me into your family with open arms, and I couldn't be more lucky to have you all as my in-laws. And now I'm allowed in the Christmas photo. I'd like to say a big thank you to the groomsmen for having Johnny's back, and to my bridesmaids for their love and laughter, and for my hen weekend, which was everything I wanted and more. Cheeky. Jess is so cheeky. And the last two thank yous are for my two boys. To Zach for making us into a family and bringing us a love we didn't know existed. For making us laugh every day and reminding us of the joy of childhood. And to my husband, who is the absolute love of my life and who I would absolutely be lost without. This man has supported me fiercely from the moment we were together, and absolutely nothing phases him. From a surprise pregnancy to teaching me how to drive, he has mostly remained calm and has fixed any problems regardless of the obstacles in our way. He found us the home we live in, held me tight while I was grieving, and reluctantly helped me at our allotment despite being adamant that he wouldn't. I always knew he would. He had absolutely no choice. We've had some funny times together, like the time the exhaust fell off our car whilst driving home on the A10, or the time we couldn't get his trousers off. Not that bad. And together, I think we make a brilliant team. And so to end my speech, I'd like to make a prediction about what the future has in store for us. In 50 years' time, I reckon that Jono will have raced in another 4,506 karting races. And I probably will have been to about 3. Whilst we'll hopefully have been on many travels around the world by then, I will still be banging on about that one trip I went on to Nicaragua. And I will almost definitely have lost several more passports. Together we will still be bickering about the cleaning and who is the better driver, even though it's obviously me.
How many courses you do?
But we'll also still be madly in love. We'll be one of those cute old couples you see down the allotments together, a bit like Carolyn and David now. Sorry for calling you old. Or slowly walking along the beach hand in hand. We'll be living in a little cottage somewhere, in a village that will have an absolutely cracking pub, because above all else, that is our #1 priority. And we'll be as happy then as we are now, if not even happier, because together we make the greatest team. Jono is my lobster, and I really can't imagine my life without him. So I'd like to raise another toast to us, to Team Chono. Chono! Is that right?
That's good.
Brilliant this morning.
Well, I'm not going to say much because, well, this really is Chantel's day, isn't it? So, good news for those on the sweep stage. Okay, yeah, and today is, for me, is really, truly is a special day. And no, and it's not just because Chantel is out in public without a bra on. But it is because we're all here together, our family and friends, all in one room. And that really is a rare occurrence, so that's great. Meeting Chantel in that summer 7 years ago changed my life forever. I changed, and I stand before you as the man and father she has made me. And throughout all of today, everything that you see is Chantel.
Yeah.
Everything. I chose my ring, and I did the M&Ms. Oh, and the chain. That's it. Everything else was a decision made by Chantel.
Tech support.
Tech support, okay. and tech support. So all of these little tiny details, everything, just gives you an insight into why I love her so much. This is surely one of the best days of my life. It's right up there with the birth of my son, the 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix, and of course when Danny Rose scored that against Arsenal in April 2010. I'm tempted to get the screen back out.
No, we've all
What a
seen
goal.
it.
If I could score any goal in football, it would be that goal. Fantastic goal. Against Arsenal, on the volley, first touch, in your Premier League debut. Fantastic. So it's on par with today. It's on par with today. Again, yeah, thank you all for coming, those who have travelled far, those who may not have made it. We send our love to those who couldn't make it, and well, remembering those who are here in spirit. And on that note, at the bar you'll see 2 little red tubs for the Teenage Cancer Trust there. No one is leaving here tonight with any change in their pocket. It's all going in those little red tubs. That's all I have to say. Let's raise a glass to the bride. And I'll say tickety tonk. And down with cancer.
Yeah.
Manatees, 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 manatees. That's the formalities out of the way. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Lewis. I'm sure by the end of the evening you will. Those of you that do know me, you're welcome. I was a little bit nervous before today, so I had to prepare a couple of lines, but don't worry, I've done them now, so I'm good to go. I got better than my last wedding. But no, on a serious note, I'm not really one for public speaking. Often piss pronunciate my words. But no, seriously, we will keep the speech short because even the cake's in tears. Yeah. So firstly, I just obviously like to, as we all have as they've all said, obviously just like to thank you all for coming. I know it means a lot to Jono and Chantal to having all their close family and friends here today, joining in on their special day. And obviously we've mentioned it already, but I would like to raise a glass for obviously the ones that couldn't be here today.
Yes.
Cheers. Bridesmaids, you look absolutely beautiful. Groomsmen, you've done a fantastic job, obviously ushering the guys to their seats. I don't think they would have found them without you. And Chantal, you look absolutely beautiful. You've even managed to get Jono in a suit. I expected him to turn up with his Mickey Hackerman trainers on. Rickenham, give me Rickenham. I only found that one out yesterday. But on that note, let's raise a glass to Chantal. So, what a wonderful day this has been already, and I'm sure it's only going to get better. And events like this obviously take a lot of time and planning, and as we've alluded, Jono obviously had nothing to do with it. I'd probably say Zach had more involvement than he did. So I've known Jono all my life, which obviously comes with a lot of stories and a lot of memories. But don't worry, Holly, I will keep the speeches short. But if you would like to know more, I'll be at the bar. Mine's in Ascot. So, obviously, growing up together, we spent a lot of time together. And we were actually the proud editors of the Best Family magazine, I think 4 years in a row. The Globe. And I actually have the original copy. 1997, The Globe. As you can see, it's hard-hitting journalism. Basically, we would go to the shops and cut out newspaper articles and brand them as our own. Obviously, the front page here was Jack almost died swallowing a killer polo. Top-class journalism. Obviously, we started cutting out these articles until we found page 3. And then we spent most of the time cutting them out. And Jono had a good idea to hide them under his pillow until Carolyn found them. We weren't allowed to buy newspapers anymore. Jono was also the mastermind behind, obviously, Crowland Crew. All 5 members are here today. Critically award-winning pop band, which I don't think had one single hit.
Or song.
However, there was the one time in Nan's back garden where we were about to write the greatest song of all time, The Summertime. In the summertime, when the weather is fine, you can have a beer or a nice chilled wine. In the summertime, Uncle Keith gave us those lyrics. We did not realise that was already a song. But Jono obviously thought he was better than us musically, so obviously moved on. Bad differences and all. And obviously went into Frigidaire. And as you know, the best song, Red Hot Star, obviously has no nothing to do with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, his favourite band. Even though Jono was the lead, we all know Baker was the brain behind it. Especially with the little shilling. Jono obviously took his passion for music too far. He got a tattoo of Bob Dylan. No, Bob Marley. No, it's Jimi Hendrix. The joke was supposed to be Bob Marley. Ruined it.
It's Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I know.
Tattooist did it.
Obviously, as we grew older, the Cronin crew went on camping trips to exotic places. Cromer, Great Yarmouth, Hunstanton, just to name a few. If you haven't realised already, we're a little bit of a weird family. Most times ended up playing Truth or Dare, which is really weird. And one time ended up with Jono running around the tent naked.
It's usually you.
It is usually me, but this time it was you. And another time involved all members putting the same pork pie in our mouth.
Sharing these stories.
It is on YouTube, and also Jono was the final piece, the final one. The picture is on YouTube, so if you do want to see it, we can show you.
Disgusting.
And finally, obviously just want to say thank you obviously to the lads that came to the stag do. It was a fantastic day and night. And to be honest, one of my favourite memories, or probably photo of the evening, if you haven't seen it, I will show you, was Jono chatting at the lady in Hooters. She did not look interested at all. To be honest, he was probably talking to her about Denmark. There is no bins in Denmark. No bins. There's no rubbish in Denmark. Well, according to Jono, anyway.
Butt talk.
Butt talk, exactly.
Yeah, it's not what I meant.
Well,
That's what you
and
said.
then really just probably wrap it off. Obviously, the Cronin crew, we have mentioned it a few times, but we often do the bibbidi bing. And if you haven't seen the in-betweeners, the reference to bibbidi bing is you predominantly say that about a topic that obviously someone talks about a lot. Jono's was Asda. If you wanted to face up or what the latest special was, he was the man. However, I would say now it would be Facebook check-ins.
I do hope you have all checked us all in, because how else are we going to know where everyone is today?
But all joking aside, Jono is a fantastic, fantastic father. And I'm sure he will be a fantastic, fantastic husband. And I wish you guys all the happiness in the world. And Chantel, welcome to the family. So on that note, can I please have you all standing to the new Mr. and Mrs. Holland? And that's a wrap. The time was 35 minutes and 15 seconds.
I'll go 35 minutes, thank you very
Who
much.
on that, please?
35 minutes, thank you very much.
Was JC on 35?
Get it to Charlie.
Jack at 35.
Can anybody beat no 35s? Jack's got it.
Jack and Chantal.
Speech. Shots.
I'm doing a camera there.
Put it in the teenage camp.
Give it to Charlie.
I will.